Hello there, Kirkplace and the Rice Movement. I'm here with Dr. John Piper. We've had a wonderful lunch, haven't we? We had a good time, and going to ask him a couple of questions and get him to share with you guys out there about some stuff. John, for me, is one of the most significant. I haven't even told you this yet. You are one of the most significant Christians in my life, just through your writings and through and for many young people and people actually all over the world. And so, what I thought, you know what, I loved today's talk. I really did. And you
better tell them where we are.
Okay, sure.
Today's talk.
You know where we are? We are in Lucerne, Lucerne Conference at Cape Town. And what's going on here is something that I've been struggling with. This is the last couple of days. I've been, the first day I was all charged up about evangelism. The second day I was all charged up about social action. And I was trying to fit these things together. And you did for us today. Tell us, what did you say about how to fit these two things together?
Yeah. Well, I feel the burden of the tension that exists there in this room as we gather 4,000 of us, with some loving to emphasize the fact that the gospel is designed to deliver people from everlasting suffering, escape from hell into heaven. And I think that's absolutely true, because we're all children of wrath. We're under the just and holy condemnation of God. And then there are others who love the thought that when they're empowered by the gospel, they minimize, or they seek to alleviate the sufferings of the world here and now. And what I said was, I plead with you, don't choose between those two. Because when the gospel takes root in a human soul, it does both. It makes us care about all suffering. It makes us want to alleviate all unjust human suffering, all of it, here and now. And then I added, but because of the scope of eternity and the seriousness of the fires of hell, the eternal suffering is infinitely more serious. So I gave him this sentence, and I said, could we say this? Could we say Christians, in the name of Christ, care about all suffering, especially eternal suffering? And then I said, if you find resistance welling up in your heart to eternal suffering, or especially caring about that, or you find resistance welling up in your heart to all suffering being opposed now, then either you have a defective view of hell or you have a defective heart. And if your heart is good towards human beings, and if your view of the Bible and the horrors of hell is good, then you'll be able to say, we Christians care about all suffering, especially eternal suffering. And I've found that sentence in my local church really helps people not become either or.
That's really helpful. Now, here's another either or, right? We've got a whole stack of young people you're speaking to. A lot of them have got a rich heritage of good theology, right? Now, does good theology mean, I know the answer, but does the good theology mean that we shouldn't have passion with that? How does theology, and you're a passionate man, how does those two things go together?
Yeah, well,
and what do you want to tell the young people about that?
Theology exists for the sake of doxology. That would be the main thing I'd want to say. Reflection exists for the sake of affection. Thinking exists for the sake of feeling. And I really believe that's not an overstatement. I believe that the ultimate way we glorify God, ultimate way we glorify God is by being most satisfied in Him. You know,
I've heard that from someone before.
God is most glorified in us when we are most satisfied in Him, which means if you are indifferent to the pursuit of satisfaction in God, you're indifferent to the glory of God. Now, right theology or thinking is designed to clarify the nature of God, the beauty of God, so that our affections rise up. But it's the affections, the feelings, the emotions that rise up and complete what thinking was about.
Yes, understood. Absolutely. Now, here's the last question. Last one. Ready? You're speaking to all these young people. They've got the rest of their life ahead of them. How should they spend it?
Yeah.
What should they do?
Yeah, well, the negative way to put it is don't waste it.
Yeah.
Don't waste your life. Don't throw it away on television. Don't throw it away on video games. Don't throw it away on money or an upper middle class lifestyle. The opposite of throwing your life away is to ask, why are human beings here? What is the ultimate purpose of God's putting us on the planet? And the ultimate purpose is to share in God's joy in His own glory, which means you should seek to maximize your joy in God, which is going to sever the root of all other kinds of idolatrous joys, and it means you're going to magnify Christ in everything you do. Just think, okay, if I'm going to be a lawyer, I'm going to be a homemaker, I'm going to be a carpenter, I'm going to hammer nails for the glory of Jesus. I'm going to defend cases for the glory of Jesus. So Christ is preeminent in all of life in service to Him. That's what would be the opposite of the wasted life.
John, this is wonderful. We're going to see you in Sydney soon, aren't we?
I hope so.
And would you mind just very briefly praying for my church, Kirkplace, and the Rice Movement